Just add that to my list of things to spend out, the Owl Lab
The
stand.
meeting owl, yeah, oh, the stand,
Yeah, I have the
Yeah.
owl.
Yeah.
Speaker, but not the stand.
yeah. Hey, it makes it portable.
Yeah,
Brian, how are you doing?
All right, I had a stink bomb lit off in the bathroom right by my office.
You did?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means that the whole pod outside my office was evacuated for about.
Yeah, was it a bag or was it
I don't know.
lit or,
No,
no, okay,
I'm not
okay.
sure, but I didn't think it was that bad, but the students were coming to see me, like.
I didn't want to say anything when you walked in, but.
smells like a stuff.
Hi, Tom.
I mean, I'm sure the school doesn't think that's funny, but I'm guessing the kids were, it's the end of
Oh,
the
I
year,
had to
people are
email
being
them.
funny,
Like
right?
cringy.
Yeah.
SAPs and stuff in this area. It's like, hey, funny, but not funny.
That's funny if you have to live through it, and not funny if you have to live through it.
So,
How you doing?
A couple minutes till 1 and we'll give everybody a chance to log on or walk in. And then, so you guys are aware, I've already started the recording, so I don't forget. So,
So.
yeah, you're in trouble
I
now.
heard you all say
see if the weather changes people's mind.
Yeah,
it's gonna get better tomorrow and the next.
It should,
So you don't have to, it's not like,
one day.
it's not like the one dare that comes in and you gotta cancel everything.
wow, I really do wonder if the sun will keep folks away. Normally, we have more traffic by now. Dang, and we have something great to share. Oh, there's Chris Tree. And Tammy Hamador's with us.
What about Mary? Have you heard anything from her?
Besides for vacation, nothing.
She was here last.
She
What's
was,
that?
She was married.
she wasn't here, but she was.
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
At the meeting.
yeah. I don't know, she'd be doing what I'd be doing if I was retired.
Yeah.
I'd either be traveling or writing angry letters to the editor. Well, we'll give it one more time and then out of respect, one more minute and out of respect for your time, we'll move forward. It's a pretty light agenda today. We'll show it, in just a second, but, we'll wait a minute so we can get, welcome and introductions out of the way. Brian, did you sign in?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And Brandon, you signed in right away, yeah. Well. I think we'll just honor your time and get started. Our fearless leader is signed in.
Barely.
Barely. So let's just go forward.
Yeah, I talked to Carrie Boone.
You
I was
did.
texting with her, and she was actually in town, and her son is just getting big time into his music. He was on the Tonight Show.
Yeah,
Wow.
As a musician, and she was in town for the last two concerts of his, and he's already planning, he was on the,
American Idol. Oh, yes.
American Idol.
Yes.
And he was talking about why he got off. He didn't want for the rest of his life to be an American Idol hero.
Yeah.
He wanted to be in, and he created a path and he doesn't owe them anything. You get
Yeah.
to give him 3 years of your life at least,
Oh.
if you're fine.
Yeah, he's very famous, like.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Number one song in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and Tom, just to let you know, I was in New York for spring break and we actually had gone outside of the Today Show. And just it happened to be the day that Benson Boone was there, so we saw him in person.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he walked into Times Square and there was a huge billboard of Benson Boone, so he's doing well.
Yeah,
It was a thrill.
Somewhere I have prevention art that he created for the coalition.
Wow.
A long time ago, but.
Hey, maybe he'll do a concert for us.
that'd be a great fundraiser.
It'd be the only fundraiser we ever needed to.
Yeah,
throw.
right.
Well, okay, let's get started with welcome and introductions. Looks like it's gonna be a small meeting here, so that means, because our agenda is about sharing primarily, you might get out of here early. Tom, do you have a welcoming statement beyond Benson Boone?
That's the best. I do have one thought and it's healthcare for all. And I just saw a bill the other day, it was $107,000. But with healthcare, it was $27,000 and healthcare paid $24,000. So instead of owing $107,000, they owed $3,000. And two of my three kids live in Europe and the Eurozone. Healthcare is not a political issue. Everybody has it. Everybody has it. And I just think that it could be the beginning of solving the homeless problem if people, because that's how people are going bankrupt.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, it's so core. So I just have a new fervor thing for what can we do to get healthcare for everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, people don't retire until they're ready for Medicare because they'll lose their health. Anyway, Tom McIntyre retired.
Let's start online. I see Chief Jolly.
Good afternoon, Joe, everybody. Good to be here. I'm Jeff Jolly from Monroe Police Department.
Thanks for being here, Chief. Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Jackson, not a groupie for Benson Boone, but I work in the district as a family engagement liaison. And I support Frylands and Salem Woods and Chain Lake.
Awesome. My distinguished colleague from ESD 189.
I assume that's me.
Distinguished, Chris.
Then it's not me. Okay.
Oh.
No, Chris Jury, Northwest ESD 189, prevention manager, and happy to be back in this group as often as I can be.
And we have our two school counselors from Park Place Middle School, both implementers of prevention programming, DBT Steps A, and Sources of Strength and Signs of Suicide. I mean, you guys are the backbone here. Let's start with Sharon first. Would you introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, I'm Sharon Lineweber. I am one of the counselors here at Park Place Middle School.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And our founding member friend.
I think that's me. I'm counselor number 2 at Park Place, Tammy Amador.
But number one in our heart. Yeah, okay, so let me show you the agenda really quick. Pretty simple. It was in the newsletter too. We completed welcomes and introductions today. I'm gonna show a video that the coalition's been developing for the last year. I'll give a little bit of context when we get that. And then we'll do a share out, whatever is on your heart or happening in your organization. We'll capture that today and was really hoping for a greater attendance, but we've never been able to compete with the sun. And then just a couple of brief business updates. And then we'll be adjourned. So it might be, you guys might get to have time in the sun.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Robin and Aubrey are also on the call.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see them. Let me expand my screen. Ah, my friends, there you are. Let me stop sharing so we can see everybody. Robin, how are you doing today? Would you introduce yourself?
Good. Hi, everyone. Robin Cruz, school counselor at Monroe High School.
Thank you for being here. I'm so sorry I didn't see you. And
Okay.
Aubrey, I think you're gonna be so proud today.
I'm really excited. I've really enjoyed a lot of the things that have been shared lately. I'm Aubrey Rudd. I'm with Just Serve, trying to connect volunteers with volunteer opportunities in the community.
Okay, thank you guys. So I'm gonna give you some context. I'll share my screen really briefly again. Just so you understand, like, what I'm gonna show you isn't a flash in the pan. It's something we've been working on for a really long time, actually. I'll give you some context now. Oops. Okay, so, since 2018, as grant funding has become available, we've been working with members of the Spanish-speaking community to understand the issues they face when trying to address mental health, both within their family and as a community. And it started in 2018 when the coalition had built its system pretty well. We had our student support advocates in the secondary schools and in Frank Wagner Elementary. You know, we had our behavioral health specialist, licensed mental health counselor, working on suicide prevention with me and providing short-term stabilizing counseling before we could refer out to the community. We have our co-occurring disorders therapist. So we had built a pretty robust behavioral health system for a mid-sized school district that's running off of grant funding to do this. And when we look at the data, even with those resources in place that we had leveraged, it was still showing that Hispanic and Latino students by their 12th grade year were much more likely to experience depression and anxiety than the rest of the students in the school district. And so we had a great leadership organization called Parent Hub. Parent Hub's still active. Kathy's running it now, but every year that we had data, we would test that with the communities we're hoping to serve. And the Spanish-speaking community that participated in Parent Hub was one of those. And I had walked into that 2018 meeting with really incorrect assumptions. So with everything that we had built, I started by asking the parents who were in attendance, like, are you aware of the resources that we have available? Here's what our data is showing, and I want to know how we can help support your children to access these. And there were about 20 people there. It was a big meeting, and just what we heard across the board was clearly like, we know what you've got to offer. And for this group, that was primarily moms. Once our dads, husbands, you know, uncles or cousins learn about us accessing these services for our kids, we're told to stop. Like, there's too much stigma. You know, people don't even believe that mental health is real. And it became a very, very interesting conversation. One of the things that came up early is, for those who are willing to access mental health support, the offices weren't very friendly. They weren't very welcoming. And so one of the first grants the coalition wrote with these moms was to actually develop a campaign, and you can see it in the middle there, but we received a trauma-informed approach grant from SAMHSA through the state of Washington to help describe what would make providers' offices feel more welcoming and authentic and accessible to Spanish-speaking patients. And we learned a lot in the focus groups that we were hosting leading up to that mental health, just as a phrase, isn't common and isn't appreciated. Instead, focusing on developing mental strength. And we learned the difference in generational perspectives. From initial immigration to the US to actually being here and perceived as too American to have input on what will help kids. And so through the years, as funding has become available, we've just been trying to support this community. And so last year, Principal Hugo Molina, Frank Wagner, and I were popcorning. He was sharing with me that he wasn't being taken seriously by parents, even when he introduced them to the resources, because he was perceived as too educated and too American, and not Mexican enough to be taken seriously. And I've learned in other conversations that there's a phrase that means not from here, not from there. And so kind of what we popcorned out was, what if we take the perception of authority out and just have men speaking in their native language to other men about developing their family's mental strength. And so we started this last year. Tom and much of the leadership team, Kathy and others were on our subcommittee to put this together. We had a couple of community providers, and we originally had about 6 people who had expressed interest in being involved in the project. Then the political landscape changed and we lost almost everybody who was involved. And yet those who were committed did persist. And I want to show you what this conversation looks like. And then when we're done, I want to ask you how you can envision this being used. And what I'll tell you is how we envision this being used right now without your input is schools will be able to show the video, or providers will be able to show the video to help start the conversation about mental health as a reality, as support being an option. At Frank Wagner next year, our plan is to show it during the Spanish-speaking parent orientation. And then when the video ends, introduce them to our amazing human resources over there, Brooke Fox and whoever will be replacing Michelle Simeone, to our student support advocate, to the counselor, the administrators themselves. And so the whole idea is just, let's have a conversation, let's make this more accessible. In the focus grouping I've done in the last several weeks, and we had Erin Wood, our former behavioral health specialist, who's now the safety supervisor at ESD 189. She shared with some organizations that serve exclusively Spanish-speaking families, and we've just gotten incredible feedback back. They've really practical feedback too, but incredible feedback. So my plan is to share this statewide with whoever wants to use this as a tool to put together a one-pager that kind of explains how it could be used, and just for ask the people to tell us how they will be using it, and then we'll just unleash it. So I'm going to show you this. Let me stop sharing here because I need to share a different screen. Thanks for letting me ramble. Okay, let me minimize you guys for just a second. Okay. Come back here because actually was linking to the draft files, but we have the final files. I got the final files about 35 minutes ago. So right before the coalition, all of the work just got delivered. There are 2 versions of everything. So what we've created is a 10-minute short documentary. And there were reasons why we chose that route, because of the popularity of media to change conversations in Spanish households, the community, the appeal of novellas and personal stories. And so what we have is this 10-minute conversation, which I'd actually like to host as a town hall. I'm just not the right person to facilitate, obviously. And then we have 2 15-second theater ads that will be running on an alternating basis at the Galaxy Theater. So let me show you this. Oh, I'm sorry. And the 2 versions of each of these, hold on, let me pause it. The 2 versions of each of these is for us, we have burned in subtitles in the focus groups over the last few weeks. What we've learned is that for Spanish speakers who are our primary audience, the subtitles are a distraction. And so I'm going to show you the burned in subtitles today, but we'll release both versions, without and with. And the version without is so beautiful. There's no clutter, no distraction, but I also want you to be able to follow along today. So let me now share my screen. Okay, there it is. And make sure we share sound. And then, okay, and let me start this playing here. Can everybody hear this okay online? You cannot. Some can. Let me do this. It's gonna be pretty loud, I think.
Siempre su alegría.
Hear it better now, Sharon?
Intentó suicidarse 2 veces y fue la tercera vez cuando lo llevó a cabo.
Beginning.
It's kind of garbled a little bit.
Muy
It's not
alegre,
clear.
muy trabajador.
Oh, it is?
Maybe, because if we're getting the sound in here, it's probably going back through the owl.
Let me mute the owl. Let's mute the owl and see if you can still.
Con muchos deseos de progresar en la vida.
Very faint.
Me motivaba siempre su alegría. Intentó suicidarse 2 veces.
It's better.
Y fue la tercera vez cuando lo llevó a cabo. Mi hermano menor era un joven muy alegre, muy trabajador, con muchos deseos de progresar en la vida. Me motivaba siempre su alegría. Intentó suicidarse 2 veces y fue la tercera vez cuando lo llevó a cabo.
Pienso que muchas veces nuestra disposición es tratar a los niños como un problema cuando hemos estado deprimidos, o nos tratan como si somos débiles, como si somos de menos nada porque no nos podemos con nuestra propia carga.
Siempre que tengo una conversación con los papás, es súper difícil que ellos reconozcan que sus propios hijos están luchando con la salud mental.
Tengo un hijo de 19 años, que él sufre depresión. Cuando yo me enteré que él sufría depresión, él tenía aproximadamente 14 años. Depresión para mí, como una persona latina, no existía en mi vida, no existía en mis conocimientos. Era algo como, eso no existe, no es verdad, solo son excusas por flojera o por no querer hacer algunas cosas, no querer socializar con otros. La forma en que yo fui creado, mi padre aún peor, no teníamos tiempo para pensar en enfermedades mentales. Me tomó mucho tiempo y me tomó volverme un poco humilde para aceptar de que estas cosas existen.
Hay veces que ya sea un primo o un papá tenga esa actitud de oh, tú tienes tú vas a ir a terapia, o tú tienes este problema, y como que lo hacen de menos o lo menosprecian y tienen esa actitud de que eres débil.
Es un tema muy difícil fue un tema muy difícil para nuestra familia. No es algo que está en nuestra cultura de aceptar que algo así está pasando. Siempre esperábamos como un milagro, como esto es algo que solo está pasando y de pronto va a desaparecer. Y él va a estar bien y la vida va a seguir normal.
Muchas veces cuando tengo esa conversación directamente con los papás, el papá es el primero que me dice, no, están bien, eso nomás es un fase. Y eso ya quiere terminar la conversación allí. Y es difícil seguir con la conversación cuando ellos ya dicen con su cuerpo, con palabras, que ya quieren que la conversación termine. Yo pienso que los papás en darme esa respuesta tienen miedo. Y les da miedo porque no saben cómo ayudar a su hijo o su hija en soportarlos.
Esa fue la manera que yo lo tomé al principio con mi propio hijo. Pero a través de ayuda de otros y de empezar a buscar un poco más de ayuda, puedo ver de que las enfermedades mentales son reales, existen y afectan a muchas personas, tanto jóvenes como adultos.
Es triste que ese estigma está ahí, porque uno puede tener problemas de salud mental y tener una mentalidad fuerte. Uno puede estar fuerte físicamente y aún así se puede enfermar. Y eso pues puede lastimar la confianza de uno mismo o cómo uno mismo se ve, porque está bien no estar bien, pero no está bien quedarse ahí.
Varias veces me han dicho los estudiantes directamente a mí o a la consejera o a su maestra, te voy a decir esto, pero no quiero que le digas a mi papá y mi mamá. Entonces eso es súper difícil, porque para poder soportar a todo el hijo y el estudiante, necesitamos tener esa conversación con los papás también y merecen saber qué es lo que está pasando. Es difícil y es una conversación súper pesada en tener, pero ellos, los hijos, nos están pidiendo que no le digas a mi papá y mamá, y unos nos han dicho, se va a poner más seria la cosa, se va a poner más grave si le dices a mi papá y mi mamá. La primera cosa es reconocer y aceptar que nuestros estudiantes necesitan ayuda.
Uno de los primeros pasos que pudiéramos tomar es reconocer que es un tema que tenemos que hablar, que es algo normal.
Yo considero que el no buscar ayuda para la salud mental en nuestra comunidad tiene que ver con las creencias de la primera generación. En este caso yo soy primera generación en este país. La forma en que nosotros crecimos, como mencioné antes, el decir, bueno, esa enfermedad no existe, eso es solamente algo que tú solo puedes superar, solo tienes que tener el deseo de salir adelante y lograrlo, no necesitas un médico, no es algo serio. Me encanta mi cultura, estoy muy orgulloso de mi cultura y quiero seguir usando lo bueno de mi cultura, pero hay muchas cosas que puedo y necesito cambiar de mi cultura, que no son necesariamente buenas. Y la salud mental, el tema de la salud mental es uno de ellos. Debemos de ser abiertos.
Para los padres, honestamente, les recordaría que estar en los Estados Unidos no necesariamente es el cambio que necesitábamos, pero la oportunidad de hacer ese cambio. Y a veces ese alejamiento de familia o ese alejamiento de las generaciones antiguas o ese maltratamiento nos crea esta oportunidad de decir, o sea, podemos crear un nuevo ambiente, podemos crear una nueva manera de llevarnos, de relacionarnos. Yo les honestamente le diría que aunque esté incómodo o esté difícil, el trabajo vale la pena.
Sí, necesitamos ser fuertes, especialmente en la comunidad hispana hablamos de ser fuertes. Hay maneras donde se debe aplicar esa fortaleza para una causa buena. Y en este caso debemos de ser fuertes y hablar con claridad y humildad ante nada.
Y cuando un niño tiene esos problemas mentales, un papá tiene buenas opciones aquí en nuestra comunidad.
Hay recursos de la escuela o de la comunidad que ellos pueden pedir y les podemos dar ese apoyo. Entonces, eso podemos tener esa conversación con los papás, uno a uno o en grupo con un consejero o consejera y en terapia. Y darle ese apoyo a los papás también para que ellos sientan el apoyo que sienten sus hijos.
La escuela nos brindó apoyo, tienen consejeros y cuando mi hijo lo necesitaba, siempre ellos estaban dispuestos a ayudar. La experiencia con mi hijo me ha ayudado a estar más abierto, a comunicarme con él. Ahora puedo ver que él habla acerca de su futuro, él quiere progresar, él tiene el deseo de graduarse de un colegio. Es una bendición muy grande, por lo cual me motiva a mí a buscar la manera de seguir esa conversación, de hablar acerca de la salud mental en todo lo que podamos para poder ayudarle y él sienta que le amamos y que nos importa mucho.
Pienso que la oportunidad más grande que tenemos ahorita también es tomar el primer paso. Si queremos seguir dando ese liderazgo para nuestros niños, si queremos seguir manteniendo ese respeto, si queremos seguir siendo parte de sus vidas en una manera íntima, no algo superficial, pero en una manera que podamos llevarnos bien, es buscar esa ayuda a nosotros.
La percepción y las opiniones y todas las otras cosas siempre va a existir. Eso nunca se va a eliminar y yo no voy a poder eliminar eso. Pero últimamente, si algo les está pasando a nuestros hijos, merecemos ponerle atención y hacer lo que es mejor para nuestros hijos. Aunque quizás la comunidad o nuestra propia familia no esté de acuerdo con eso. Eso no quiere decir que si yo o un estudiante se identifica que tiene problemas con la salud mental, va a necesitar apoyo por el resto de su vida. Lo que sí quiere decir es que va a necesitar apoyo hasta que el estudiante ya diga, ¿sabes qué? Ya tengo las herramientas o tengo las palabras para poder navegar lo que estoy pasando en mi experiencia.
Tenemos que ser fuertes cuando se necesita ser fuertes y en este caso es necesario, especialmente en hablar y compartir. Y creo que esto se aplica en la vida en general, no solamente en los temas de salud mental. El ser fuertes y hablar al respecto de temas que no son difíciles nos van a ayudar a encontrar la ayuda necesaria para superarlos y al mismo tiempo ayudamos a otras personas. Por mi experiencia con mi hermano, con mi hijo, ahora puedo ver que el porcentaje de personas, no solamente en Estados Unidos y en todo el mundo, que padecen de salud mental es muy elevado. Me gustaría compartir con estas personas que están pasando por casos similares que no están solos, que las enfermedades mentales no es algo que elegimos, no es alguien que nuestro familiar elige. Creo que el iniciar una conversación acerca de un problema mental es el primer paso. Necesitamos ser fuertes y hablar al respecto del tema de salud mental.
Okay, there it is. Any thoughts? Thank you.
Yeah, I like it. I think it,
Yeah, Joe, I can just say that's very powerful, and seeing some familiar faces in that video has got to be quite impactful. I look forward to seeing some positive inroads to our community.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
I love that they talk about just taking the first step. What an awesome first step to just have this exposure of some down to earth people sharing their experiences and just encouraging them that resources can help make their kids stronger. Because I think at the heart of every family, right, is that they love their kid and they want to help their kid. So kind of couching it in this way, I thought was really powerful. It was awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's also a great conversation starter. So to hear other men talk about their own experiences, they can feel more free to kind of share their own experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully it can act like, kind of disarm some of that stigma that's been there culturally. My kids are half Mexican, half Hispanic, born in South Texas, and I definitely identify with seeing that in the culture, and so if we can reduce that, it'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, last week I showed it in Everett to organizations that were going through some trauma-informed practice training. A group of organizations, about 40 or 45 people. And we got a lot of feedback on it applying to other cultures beyond the Hispanic and Latino culture. There was a social worker who serves immigrants from Africa who thought that it really applied, immigrants from Ukraine who thought that it might really apply. So far we've been embraced, but now we haven't disseminated widely yet. Tammy or Sharon, I hope you saw that we got some good counselor lines in there. You're always the first line of defense, and often you're the gateway. So
I liked it. I think it was really powerful, just like Jeff said.
thank you. So you guys are comfortable with putting this out there with our name on it? That's what it looks like, okay?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Robin, any thoughts, or Chris Jury?
Big fan.
Yeah, I agree. It was powerful. It was nice to see it being translated and, uh, you know, male students can relate. So yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Thank you. And yeah, how this will be disseminated is, it will be disseminated with closed captions. So if you want to see the English subtitles, you can, but you'll have to actively click them. So, Chris? Any thoughts?
Nothing new to add.
In the old days, it would have been you making that movie with me. It would have been.
Mostly it would have been us press ganging, unsuspecting children into doing all the work for us. But yeah.
So I guess we don't need to talk about it. Again, the ways that I planned, the one-page implementation sheet that I plan to put out there with this is just, again, suggestions for its use. I think for those who see it, they'll decide whether or not it has value in any of the ways that we suggest. But I don't see that a lot needs to accompany it. I'd like to build a web page with all of the Spanish language resources that we built together specifically to make the mental health experience better. And that'll take me a few days, maybe next week. But after that, I think we'll just share with everybody. And we'll see what happens. And then, I'll show you the 2 theater ads that came from that too. Let me share my screen here. This one's done. Let me open this first. You guys can't see that yet. Zoom is a blessing and a curse. Okay, let me share my screen now. So here's one. Mental health short. So share. Oh, hold on. Oops. Oh, and mute. Oh, sorry. Yes. Let me make sure I have the share sound okay. Mute.
Necesitamos ser fuertes y hablar al respecto del tema de salud mental. Creo que el iniciar una conversación acerca de un problema mental es el primer paso. Ahora puedo ver que él habla acerca de su futuro.
Spot 1, that spot is in case we don't have access to funding to continue Care Solace. The state last week, even though they initially awarded us funding for that Care Solace referral service, last week they took it back. They decided that it wasn't prevention. And so I have a couple of meetings next week with a few other potential funders for Care Solace. One way or the other, we'll find a way to make it happen. I'm really angry at this.
I think we lost your audio, Joe.
You're muted, Joe.
That all of those words, never mind. Let me share the other spot. Sorry, so the first spot.
Necesitamos ser fuertes y hablar al respecto de. Necesitamos ser fuertes.
Sorry, the first spot is the ad that will run in the theater if we don't have Care Solace service anymore. We were initially awarded funding way back in August to continue Care Solace this year. Right now, the city of Monroe is funding it through an ARPA grant that we wrote. And then I applied for year 2 funding through our mental health promotion grant. Despite being awarded the funding in 23, last week, the state decided that our approach wasn't prevention. And so they've taken that funding away from us. So I have a couple of meetings scheduled, one next week, one last week. to get out feelers for additional funding. We'll find a way to fund it. But it's really upsetting to get the denial because problem identification and referral is a primary prevention strategy. And in the statewide suicide prevention plan, improving access to mental health is a primary prevention strategy goal. So to be denied over something that is prevention, but not perceived at some level as prevention, that is also ignoring the research on what prevention is a little frustrating, but we won't let that stop us. So if we have Care Solace, this is what we'll be running in the Galaxy Theater instead of the 988 ad, or maybe we'll alternate both. Let me share this now and I'll mute first.
Necesitamos ser fuertes y hablar al respecto del tema de salud mental. Creo que el iniciar una conversación acerca de un problema mental es el primer paso. Ahora puedo ver que él habla acerca de su futuro.
You can expect to see one of those ads if you take your family out to see the Galaxy Theater. It will just depend on whether or not we have access. So Aubrey, I'm really hoping once I get everything built out, Juan will be so proud of his contribution. I mean, he did an amazing job. They all did.
Yeah.
So, okay, thanks for letting me share. I'm really proud of what we accomplished together on that project, and I just been kind of shepherding the final edits and all of that, but we did it. We did it. No. And so all that's left on our agenda really is just an update from your world. What's going on? What kind of help do you need? I wonder if we start with folks, and actually let's start with Jeff Jolly. Jeff, you're always in a position of honor among us. We're so grateful for you. What's going on in your world?
Well, you're incredibly kind, but I'm glad to go first and get it out of the way. So the reality is the warmer summer months always bring more activity to our realm and to our business. So we expect that to continue as normal. Our big concerns from a community standpoint are the heat indexes are looking a little scary, as well as wildland fires. We do anticipate some wildfires this year, and that could impact the air quality significantly. So those vulnerable populations we're concerned about, elderly, the unhoused, various populations, as to how they can get sanctuary from that. But otherwise, everything's, pretty much kicking around as normal. So things are good.
Any questions for Chief Jolly before we let him off the hook? Well, I think we're just happy to have some good news, Chief.
Yeah.
Our friends at Park Place, what's happening in your world?
I'll let Tammy take that.
Only because I couldn't find the mute button fast enough. We're tracking along. We started our second DBT group. And we're actually doing 2 groups because we had too many kids to fit in one group. And I'm starting actually another one for Spanish speaking girls. We're starting that tomorrow. And let's see. Sources of Strength. We had our training on Monday. That went really well, thanks to Sharon's planning and organization. What else? Pretty boring other than that.
Oh, sure, every day.
Absolutely.
So Tammy, what is DBT?
DBT stands for Dialectical Behavior Therapy.
Okay.
And the program that we're running is Steps A, which is specifically for adolescents and schools. So we are using a modified version. There's a whole big thing, but we're using it for our group curriculum. So we're pulling out 8 to 10 lessons each time and using those with our groups. A lot of it is around emotional problem solving.
So, Chris, what's happening up at the ESD?
Well, we're getting to the part of our year where we need to kind of wrap up all our numbers games sort of things we need to do to keep funders happy. And then we're going to have to start looking at replacing our coordinator Cameron Clay has left for sunnier climates, and so we need to fill that position. And we're looking at I think we've got money to expand the program by a handful of SAPs and a couple more positions. So we're hoping to bump it up to an even 30 districts across the region in the next year or two. So it's big, but there we go.
You know, it's great to have one of us making this happen, Chris. We do it the right way.
That's right. That's right.
I say no, but I really mean it. No. Robin, what's happening at the high school?
We are, Derek and I are finishing up our study habits and test anxiety groups. The next two counselors are getting ready to start their interpersonal groups. Doing credit checks again, scrubbing through our seniors, make sure they're ready for graduation. We are also making sure everybody has their high school and beyond plans pretty completed, and yeah, that our seniors have their post-high school goals ready and ready to exit soon.
So you're not busy at all.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
No, you guys are doing amazing work up there, Robin. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Kathy Jackson, anything going on in your world?
Well, this week is Teacher Appreciation, Staff Appreciation Week. So all the atmosphere in the buildings has been pretty upbeat and happy. Everyone feels like it's always nice to have all of that appreciation and food being brought in. And it was funny thing, I was in the hallways of Rylands yesterday, and another staff member said, make sure you go to the staff room because there was a taco bar. And I said, oh, thank you. And the student walking by, he goes, when is Student Appreciation Day? And I said, he goes, you wouldn't have a job without us. I'm like, right. Your day is the last day of school. So they're aware in the buildings. Just busy with end of the year stuff and getting ready for the next calendar year for students, and working on the upstanders. So I'm sure Joe will cover that as we're going along, but make sure you get the word out. We're really trying to inform all of our families that it's available, and it's going to be a great documentary on May 22nd. So thank you.
Aubrey, what's happening in your world? Just Serve and Beyond.
Yeah, so we had Global Youth Service Day on April 28th, and we had about 150 kids show up to the Farmer Frog. I don't know if you guys know, they're moving from Woodinville. They're a farm that's really helped with food insecurity there. So yeah, they are still trying to set up and get things planted, and we helped with a fence. We built hoop houses. We planted and weeded, and it was really great, and it was awesome. And my hope was to try to get something in Park Place. I talked to Jeanette just to kind of get what we could talk to the principal, and we just couldn't get that together this year. So hopefully by next year. There's just a lot of concerns about adults coming on campus, background check. So maybe like an after school, because you guys have a lot of walkers, trying to just put together snacks and notes of encouragement for Kids Club. I thought it'd be a really cool way for them to give. I think we talked about them giving back and involving them. But I ran into at this event some youth from the Snohomish High School, and they only have 8 hours of service. But I know that we've talked about service and feeling connected to your community as an ameliorating factor against some of these behaviors for youth. And that's kind of what drew me in, like Just Serve and how can I help? And just kind of wondering how to bring that up, because I think it used to be a graduation requirement at MHS and is no longer. But it just was cool to see youth out there that, you know, we had kind of gotten the word out with youth in our church neighborhoods. And yeah, anyway, I was just like, oh, that would be really cool to an avenue to get out there and get kids serving and getting connected in their community. So that's just something I'm, you know, interested in. And I'm also interested in anything we can do to help parents learn or get some of that information from last week or last month's presentation. You know, there was some pretty key points of screen use and some other safety things. And I don't know, I would love to help in any way I can to kind of help support parents coming up with like healthy tech plans for kids or getting the word out about delaying screen time for kids and what that looks like. So anyway, those are just like things I'm thinking about and how can I help, and let me know.
Yeah, you know, to that point, Randy and I were having a conversation before the meeting started, talking about two different social media things that we're exposed to that would align exactly with what you're saying. And one of the films we previewed, so we selected Upstanders this year.
Mm-hmm.
The superintendent has put out a poll asking for people's opinion about cell phone use in schools. And
Yeah,
one of the films in that package is called Bike. And it would be an excellent way to launch the school year. So and we don't have to wait till May if we want to do this. You know, if there's a new policy coming out and everything else is happening around it, I think we might be able to do a community conversation early.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let me know how I can help, or if I can do some legwork, gather parents who are interested, whatever we can do. There's a lot of great resources out there to follow on social media, ironically, but like of people who are who just have a lot of great research, you know, ideas, techniques. They're following what's going on, you know, globally and with big tech. They're following what's going on in other school districts who are limiting phone usage. And anyway, I'm just highly interested in helping. If you need some help around that, let me know.
You know, thanks to Kathy Jackson, I'm learning how to ask for help. I mean, I'm terrible at asking for help, but Kathy has, like, over the last year and a half, just been like, you get it no matter what. And
yeah. Way to go, Kathy. Push that help on. And I'll be there. I'll be there early so I'm gonna meet Kathy at 6 for the movie. And
awesome.
Set up and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll be there. In the room, Tom or Chris, anything to share?
We're in the middle of fundraising right now.
Yeah.
We just had our community pub dinner last month, and we had more people than we've ever had, and we made more money than we've ever made. And that included a project that we're going to provide picnic tables and an outdoor barbecue in 5 locations in East County.
Wow.
And yeah, because not only because our residents don't have access to that in their own units. And like most apartment buildings, you don't allow barbecues we don't have decks, so, you know. But we're also hoping that it will become a community building site too on each of the places where we're going to be putting those. So now we're putting together the building part of it. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's some good news. It feels like we've had a couple months of bad news.
Oh, yeah.
But this is
and then next week is our Stone Soup, which is our big statewide.
Awesome.
Or countywide.
Wow.
Fundraiser. So, and it's sold out. So,
oh, it's sold out?
It's sold out, yeah. It's at Tulalip.
Wow.
And that's a big facility.
It's a huge, 750, I think.
And Rachel Adams, you walked just in time to share about
Nice to see you.
what's happening in your world.
Yeah, so we are, I apologize for being late. The pastor's lunch happened right at the.
Yep.
Right at the
How
same
was
time. It was wonderful.
wonderful. We had a panel of service providers sharing about services with the pastors, and so that was great. I always like to be part of those and see how everything connects and exciting stuff. I think biggest news in my world right now is that we are preparing the resolution to continue our Community Human Services Advisory Board that will go to council here next week.
Okay.
And assuming that passes and assuming the council then also approves our respective nominations for Community Human Service Advisory Boards, we should have a quorum next week
Wow.
also, and I should be able to resume work that way, so that'll be good.
Quorum's hard, so.
Quorum is hard sometimes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was, we're looking forward to that and right in time for making budget recommendations coming up right around the corner for the next biannual budget.
Great, we should have a mixed Shasab and coalition meeting.
That would be lovely.
Because we're working toward the same end.
Absolutely.
And we each have different access to funding.
That's a really good idea, Jeff.
So, just saying.
Perfect, like it.
Katie, what's happening in your world?
I'm the Assault and Prevention Coalition Coordinator. We have a resource fair going on at Assault High School tonight from 5:30 to 7:30. Mary Kate from Unified Counseling is going to be doing a presentation on self-like, building self-like. So it's really great for those teenage years. There'll be a bunch of different kind of resources throughout Valley, tabling, and yeah. That's it for right now.
Awesome. Anything, Brandy?
Yeah, Brandy, parent and community member. Off of also what Aubrey said, and from the last meeting that I was at where the results from the kids' surveys were back. It seemed from my own talking to people and from those survey results that parents really do need some more support and they're asking for it. And it would be great, I think, for the coalition to be the head of getting some more parenting classes out there, skills for how to set limits with tech and with substance use and how to deal with these behaviors that we see that are actually mental health signs that maybe they're not recognizing. So yes, there is definitely a need for that parents are asking for. Then someone that I've come across online, he has a new book coming out. His name is Jonathan Haidt. It's Haidt. He's his new book, The Anxious Generation. He's a researcher and professor. He's sums up everything that we've been seeing with the data from our schools and our state, that our mental health problem has been getting worse since 2013, but he actually has some solutions. So it's not just doom and gloom. If you get a chance to look him up, I think you would enjoy some of his solutions. And one of his major ones is no cell phones in school. We've already tried keeping them in your pockets. It doesn't work. And I was so happy to see that the Monroe School District coming out with that at the same time that I was just hearing him talk about it. And the other thing that schools can do is add back more play-based childhoods in our elementary schools. So
What was the name of the book again?
The Anxious Generation. And it's this Gen Z. Anyone born after 1995.
The Glow Kids is also a really good book that kind of goes over some research-based things and some solutions. And I think his last name is Karvas, Caravas. I don't know. Anyway, The Glow Kids. It's also currently reading and really enjoying some hopeful ideas of how to shift.
I think the only business items that I have to share are June will be the last coalition meeting until September. Just like Chris Jury mentioned, I'll be spending basically from today until June winding down most of our coalition fiscal year 1 contracts and then getting us set up for fiscal year 2. So our most of our contract timelines run from July 1st to June 30th. So those 2 months, June and July, are really crazy behind the scenes. And then, yep, like you heard, Sharon and Tammy have 2 programs that they're implementing right now at Hidden River Middle School. We're doing second semester Botman's Life Skills Training Program. So everything that we had proposed implementing has been implemented. Maddie wasn't able to join us today, but she did spring and winter sports groups with our single session evidence-based practice called Sport. So we really touched all levels, K through 12 this year. And then May 22nd will be a push into the community. And, you know, as I recover and as we all recover, you know, it'll be nice to push back more into the community to provide those type of supports. And then in terms of timeline, so we have to create a strategic plan that looks at our data. Not that looks at it, that's based on our data, and then we'll be selecting programs. So that strategic plan is not going to be due until December. We will probably start that work I'm sorry, the plan is not due until December. We won't start the work until September. So we'll have some good time, and then we'll be setting ourselves up for the next couple of years based on what we know is happening. So lots of stuff to look forward to. I love strategic planning because it helps me stay focused on what we're trying to accomplish. And we've never had a strategic plan that just gathered dust. It's an active document for us. So I think that's all I've got. Any closing words, Tom?
Yeah, just a personal note. About a year ago at this time, my daughter, she's a school counselor at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. And she was about to begin a brutal cancer treatment regimen. This Saturday, she'll be throwing out the first pitch on Ramstein Base at a game as a cancer survivor. And I was thinking of Psalm 23. Though I walk through the valley of darkness. You don't park in the valley of darkness, you don't camp in the valley of darkness. You walk through the valley of darkness. And she walked through that valley and things are looking real good for her.
Wow. Well, you guys, I love the work we get to do together. This coalition has been family for me for 10 years, so go out, take care of yourselves and other people, enjoy the sunshine. Thank you so much for everything that you help us build together. So see you guys.
Thanks, Joe. Good night.
Oh, Joe, I just had one more question real quick about, I'm, learning this research about social media and it's how it's really manipulating the chemicals within our own. Oh yeah. We can talk later, but just like, I know that you're like substance prevention, right? What if they're manipulating substances that our own body creates, right? Is there a connection there? Do you access funding? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just a thought, like, I don't know. I would just love to kind of look at that a little bit more and help however you think I can.
And I think the consensus this year has been like, it's time to address it.
Right.
And we've never had data before, like we do in the strategic plan and the LD survey, we asked for to administration. So I'm thinking we have the data justification to really move this into our work. And so there are some programs that are just maintenance programs, and then the rest will be what's our active work. So I think that's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah. Let me know. I just feel passionate as a parent who needs support and how tech has negatively impacted the mental health of my children. Really just, I'm fiery about this topic. So let me know how I can help.
And I just want to say, Sultan also used to have volunteer hours for graduation, and they got done away with that as well. And I think that's really kind of taken away a lot that kids learn from that time.
Right.
So I feel the same way out there. And they have a policy where they have their phones away for the day in the middle school and high school. So they have implemented that there. So
I would love to, I would love to hear just like I would love to hear like their ins and outs, like what are their consequences? How do they turn them in so that they are secure so that, no one else can steal them or get broken or whatever. Like there's just a lot of like ramifications to phone policy. that I would love to hear. Just, excuses of, I don't want to touch a kid's phone. If they say it's broken and I broke it, I don't want to be financially responsible. All these kind of things that I'm like, what can we do to make it just easy? I think there's just been a lot of data. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to hear like what your administration.
I think they just put theirs away in the backpack, not that the teachers actually take it.
No.
Well, no, and I think the taking only comes when they are when they don't follow the policy. And so, or what does happen if it's not taken, what is the policy surrounding those who will not follow it,
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm curious about all those things and I'm happy to help. So let me know.
It'll be fun because, if we make this a primary focus of the strategic plan, we might be the only coalition in Washington that's doing it. Not the only coalition, but the only coalition funded in the way that we are, primary substance abuse prevention funding. And that means there's gonna be lots of pushback and that'll be really fun. So.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, there's just so much data. I love this Glow Kids. The tech knows what they're doing, right? They know that they are manipulating our dopamine and you know what I mean? Like to keep us scrolling, to keep us looking. So anyway, just fascinating. I'd love to get down there and figure, light some fires. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I will talk to you another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tell JD you saw the video.
I will tell him. And will he have access to it at some point?
Well, once I build the website out in a few days, then he'll have total access.
That's
So
awesome.
right now I only have it as a downloadable file. And so I could put it on a thumb drive for him, but he'd probably get access to the same time as I put it online.
Yeah, which is great. I'm super proud of it. I think it is awesome. And I think he'll be I think it will mean a lot to him to feel like he's making a difference. So
I mean, this happened because of you, man. So
I don't know. I mean, this was your guys' idea, popcorning. I just found someone who's awesome. He is awesome. So yeah, their family is great. I love them. So I won't see you until September. Is that right? Oh no, I'll see you at the movie.
And
Next month.
oh, are you gonna be gone for the June meeting?
Do you have a June? Oh, you have a June meeting. Oh yeah, I'll be here. I can
perfect.
I'll tune in. Yep. Okay, awesome.
Okay.
All right, thank you. See you guys. Enjoy the sun.
Yeah.